Morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Venus Day. This is your girl Adina coming to you a little bit early with our Liberated Pussy, the podcast with my sister, the Moon Mama. Let me add her into our conversation. Let's see. Where you at? There you are. Hey. Hey, hey. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So we're a little earlier than we planned. We had some scheduling things. Hey, honey.
How you doing?
Grand Rising. I'm great. How are you?
I'm excited to be here.
Me
Thank
too.
you.
Me
Yay.
too. Me too. I'm exhaling.
I know.
For our raising up early
Yes, yes,
to
yes,
do
yes.
this call.
It feels slightly dramatic.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right.
So we are wearing green. I have a green dress on. You can't really, like, you can see it if I lean back. But in honor of the Go Topless tomorrow in New York, my video looks like I'm topless. So there you go. Freedom to the tatas as well as freedom to the pussy. So freedom to our entire bodies.
Yeah.
We are free. We are free. Ashe, aho, and amen.
Thank you so much for that. Absolutely. Freedom is real.
hmm
Mm.
So we are talking today about, what are we talking about today? We have
Right.
a topic. This is our third time meeting in this way to talk about liberation inside and out and fully owning yourself, ourselves as goddess in the now. And what does that mean? What does that look
Yeah.
like? How are we going to direct our conversation today?
So today we're talking about, we're doing this podcast in alignment with a class that you're going to be teaching at Follow the Sun called Goddess Technology.
Mm-hmm.
And today we are talking about what does it mean to be the goddess? Like what is the thing? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a new conversation around, and we hear it thrown around, queen and goddess and all that sort of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But we want to really begin to make this stuff practical.
Yes.
These are not just titles that we use to make ourselves feel good about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
This is an actual experience
It
of
is.
your own humanity and
Mm-hmm.
everything about your humanity. And how can we go from being people who have lived in a victim consciousness or
Mm-hmm.
victim experience? How can we go from being that to being women who actually are in the lived experience of being an embodied goddess? So that's
Ashe.
what we're up to. It's a
Mm-hmm.
process,
Yes.
it's a journey, and we have to talk about it. We have to share our experiences in order for people to understand the practicality of it, the realness of it, so
Mm-hmm.
that it becomes something that we are living into in the ways like maybe when our family, like when we lived into being a Christian, for
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, or, like
Mm-hmm.
really embodying the God presence inside of yourself. So that's what we're up to today.
That's some
So
good
why don't we
stuff.
I know. I know. So why don't we start with talking about what our definitions is, like what does it mean for you,
Mhm.
the goddess? What does goddess mean for you?
Thank you for that. I I love everything you just said. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, goddess has a few different meanings. I like to play with the semantics of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I hear the word goddess, I can also think God is. You
Mm-hmm.
can spell it like God is
Mm-hmm.
and still call it goddess, but God is. So
Yes.
in understanding what God is and that we are literally, figuratively, actually the incarnation of God consciousness in these human bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And as women who are highly melanated, we are the first, we are descendant from the first incarnation of the human experience, the
Mm-hmm.
wounded ones.
Mm-hmm.
So God is, when you see us, you are looking at the face of God. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what it means to me, and understanding that embodiment, okay? It's not it is the God, like we talk about the ocean and we talk about a cup of water or a drop of rain. We are a part of the whole cosmos of what God consciousness is.
Yes.
And that means that we aren't victims.
Mm-hmm.
That means that we do have power. That means that we create our lives. And so when I'm talking about goddess, I'm talking about from my power of creation to bring forth life, physical life, and then life of the types of experiences I want to have in this human body. What does that mean? How do I want my life to unfold in this Adina experience? I'm
Mm-hmm.
experiencing God is as Adina today. What
Mm-hmm.
does that mean?
Yes.
So for me, goddess is an archetype of many different flavors and iterations and attributes. And it can be expressed in the darkness and it can be expressed in the light. How do I want to express it in this moment? So I'm owning that. I'm owning
Mm-hmm.
that. So when I say goddess, I understand the cosmologies and the different cultural expressions of goddess.
Mm-hmm.
Many different cultural expressions of feminine in her power, feminine knowing who she is. And I use that to help myself come back to that. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense?
It does. It does.
Okay.
It's a thank you for that. It's
Mm-hmm.
I really love the goddess and God
Mm-hmm.
is. That's a really that it opens my heart and it's
Nice.
also fun. And
Nice.
um there's so many things that you said that resonate with me. It's the goddess energy for me is um gosh, here's what I'll say. It means for me that I get to move through the planet, through the earth realm in a certain way. It
Mm-hmm.
means I have power.
Right.
It means that I am creating because
Right.
God is a
Right.
creator. That is
Right.
the essence and the nature of God. But what is unique about the goddess experience for me is that I was raised in a culture that's patriarchal that didn't give any power to the feminine version of God.
Mm-hmm. So
So
much so she was deleted.
right. So for years I felt deleted. I
Okay.
felt subject to. I
Mm-hmm.
felt powerless.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I literally as a child would have this experience of feeling power in my body and then, organically trying to manifest because I could feel power in my body, but then I could not manifest. So
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't come. So I felt like my power was cut. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like my energies had been cut off. And what I'm what I'm learning now in my work to understand the goddesses and to heal is that it truly is a physical embodiment. It is a profound energetic that you feel in your system
Mm-hmm.
that gives you confidence and power to create and power in your word and power in the way you interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
The energy assists people in feeling you and you in feeling yourself. And now I can remember the little girl in me who felt like she was a goddess, but didn't. I was disconnected. And now I know that my will, like the third chakra center, had
Mm-hmm.
been disconnected
Mm-hmm.
because my mother wasn't connected to her power.
Mm-hmm.
So then I inherited an experience of not being connected to my power.
Mm-hmm.
And so this goddess energy now for me is becoming something that I as a child felt true organically, and then it got usurped by Christianity because I could feel this energy in me, and the only place that it actually got tapped into was in church with
Mm-hmm.
music and all of that kind of stuff. And now I'm like, oh, I can see how it was being misdirected. I can see. So I know what it now means that being the goddess is an actual practical experience in my system, in my
Mhm.
body, that
Mhm.
impacts everything that I do.
Mhm.
Everything.
I say, you ring the bell on that. I say. Something you said reminded me of my feeling as a little girl growing up. And I'm from Chicago, y'all. I grew up south side of Chicago. I didn't live there my whole childhood, but from birth until I was 8 years old, I was in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And how I felt. And Chicago at that time in the 70s was very segregated. You felt it. Like I didn't see different cultures. We were very homogenous in our pockets. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my family was middle class, but still very homogenous. So, but I remember feeling the hierarchy of people,
Mm-hmm.
feeling the hierarchy of people, like you just said, and feeling like, okay, well, men are at the top and then women, and then feeling the hierarchy of race, because again, these are all stories. And
Yes.
so it's like, so in that this hierarchy and this experience as a Black woman, we're at the bottom of this thing. I felt
Mm-hmm.
this as a child, like I'm at the bottom of the rung, like I'm the last rung on the thing. And then being a highly melanated woman, it wasn't something, or a little girl, it wasn't something that was celebrated, and it wasn't my family. Let me say
Mm-hmm.
that. I have an African father, and I always resonated with African and Africanness. That meant positive things to me. But as soon as I went outside of my house, it wasn't that. You know, the world
Mm-hmm.
didn't celebrate African. It didn't celebrate Blackness. It didn't celebrate womanhood or
Yes.
girlhood
Yes.
even.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
so
Yes.
feeling like that hierarchy, I just felt the story made me feel like it was just a fuck. Like it was just like, damn, like you got some bum cards.
Yes.
Like you got, like, this is my hand. But
Yes.
what I've come to know is that the story had just turned everything upside down so you could feel a certain way.
Yes.
So you could feel powerless. So you could feel out of order, like you didn't belong, or like it was like you're just lucky to be here. Like you're lucky to be here. Be quiet. Sit back at the
Right.
table. Don't say much. Just be
Right.
quiet. But what
Yes.
I know now,
Mm-hmm.
what I know now as goddess technology is that whole thing was turned upside down. It
Yes.
was turned upside down to make us feel a certain way. When you manipulate when a person's feelings are manipulated,
Right.
you can control how they behave.
That's right.
When
That is
a
absolutely
person,
right.
yes. So as Adina now, understanding these stories and agreeing to release them, I come into my power of what you talked about, of really understanding who I am as goddess and what that means in terms of the power. So goddess technology is the process of bringing us back into our power, understanding who we are, and then what you need to do. Because there are some things to do.
That is right. And that's the
There's some
thing
things to do.
that's what I'm talking, the practical part of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Because this thing about our feelings and emotions being
mm-hmm,
manipulated and
mm-hmm,
controlled in our religions,
mm-hmm,
in our government, in our
mm-hmm,
education,
mm-hmm,
right? Like teaching us ideas of being less than who we really are, you
mm-hmm,
know, as humans, as women, as melanated beings, in any
mm-hmm,
way, right?
mm-hmm.
So the feeling part is so important
So,
to the
yeah,
goddess.
yes.
It's almost the primary thing.
It's the
How
fuel.
you,
It's the
right,
gas.
that's
Mm-hmm,
right. How
mm-hmm,
you feel
mm-hmm.
really, really matters.
Right.
And this is why we get to learn the practices that bring us back online.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can, what I, girl, it's so amazing because if you think about who you were, if I think about who I was 10 years ago
Mm-hmm.
and how disconnected I was and how my thoughts were so geared towards something outside of me,
Mm-hmm.
unconsciously, oh, I need to have more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based upon a feeling of scarcity. I need to
Mm-hmm.
have a man
Mm-hmm.
based upon a feeling of not feeling like I'm enough. I
Mm-hmm.
need to have this kind of job based upon a feeling of trying to fit in,
Mm-hmm.
trying to, right? All of these mental thoughts which create the reality based on feelings of
Mm-hmm.
not really being in the truth,
Yes.
not understanding the truth of who I was. So
Mm-hmm.
then the behaviors that come from the behaviors that get ignited when you don't feel like you're enough.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that
Yeah,
something?
that's a fuck. You know, not feeling like you're enough will have you on a whole bunch of bullshit. You know, taking a whole bunch of stuff you were never meant to take. Now, and I will say this, every experience can be used because literally all paths do lead home.
That's right.
Do you want to get there quickly, or do you want to take 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 lifetimes to get there? Do you want this lifetime to count? Do you want to shift it for your entire bloodline,
Yes.
for your grandmother, your mother, your mother's 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 mother?
Yes.
Because that's what we're called to do. If you are stepping up into goddess technology work, that's what you're saying that you're doing. I will carry the light. I will shift it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, our mothers and grandmothers, they literally did the best they can do. We right now are literally doing, is baby getting out? We are literally doing the best we can do. So as we learn and we know better, we're making different choices. You said something about reality, and people say this to me all the time. That's not reality. You know, they're just speaking about what they see with their physical eyes. What
Yeah.
the goddess knows and what the feminine knows, you can't just look with your physical eyes. You almost have to close your eyes and see.
That's right.
Because the goddess is the creator of
That's
reality.
that is right.
Literally. We were told, I was told as a child, your feelings don't matter. Your feelings don't matter. It's not about your feelings. Like, shut it up. Stop crying. You know, hush it up. But they
Right.
do matter.
That's
And it's
right.
not about being in complete chaos and just kind of a raging maniac to your feelings. It's about emotional intelligence
That's right.
and understanding how to use your feelings to your best and highest good.
Yeah.
That is Goddess
That's
technology
right.
and the highest good of those around you. It's not even manipulation from a negative sense, but it's mastery. We're
Yeah.
talking about mastery of feminine energy in this lifetime.
That's right. That's right. Let me just an example of being able to feel into something and how intimate it is when you move into your goddess energy. So for my life, you know, many of us understand this because we have this system called money. My whole world can get wrapped up in how much money I have or don't have. And that system can hijack it has in the past hijacked how I felt, if I'm happy in a moment, if I'm sad, if I feel like I'm going to be able to have pleasure. Like it just really I've given it a lot of power. I had. And when I started my own business, it was really exciting because it was like, oh, I'm going to be able to generate a life based on what I love to do, and I'm going to be able to make money. But in the last year or so, I noticed I was like, something is off, and I could feel it. I could feel it. And so I just was like, what is it? And I noticed that my energy around money was too reliant. I was too connected to it. I was too attached to it. And so I just started sitting and meditating and feeling into my system. And I heard the goddess aspect of me say, pull all your energy back. Pull it all back. Like stop doing all the things you're doing. Do only the things that you really have to do. And so that I could see, it was almost like pull it back so you can see where your energy isn't being utilized well any longer. But I was feeling it, right? It was something, I still was making money, but it just felt out of alignment. And so I just pulled it all back and started to reorient what's my mission here? What's the value of what I bring? What am I really up to? Who do I serve? What's my vision? When I leave this planet, what do I want to leave this planet knowing that I accomplished, right? Like this is goddess energy. And then what does that feel like in my body, right? And I'm still in the process of doing this. I'm still working it out. But this is the difference in me being like, oh my God, money. It's like, no, I'm here on a mission. What is it about? And we have to, I'm sorry, one second. My aunt, y'all don't understand.
She the amen chorus. She agreeing with you.
She's trying to get out, girl. She's trying to leave.
She liberated
She is really trying to break free. It's the truth. It's the truth.
Yes.
And so God bless that. You're not going out right now. I have to remind her every day, you are an indoor cat, honey. You are an indoor cat. So this energy of like becoming a goddess and walking the planet as a goddess there are real practical things that are anchored in you trusting yourself.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You must trust yourself. You must have spiritual practices that align you to the power of trust inside of you and your creative potential externally. You must have, I mean, there are so many things that we are discovering, you and I, because we talk every day, right? There's so many things that we're discovering in this age, right? And just so you know, I'm looking at you. You are a fine ass woman. You are gorgeous.
Hey, thank you, darling.
And it's so interesting because we're, you know, like I was taught that by the time we got this age, the age that I am, I'll be 55. I'll be 55 in like 2 weeks or so.
Double nickels, baby, double nickels.
I know, right? I'm so excited. Like, this is just getting started. I'm just starting to get good at being myself.
Yes.
I'm just starting to get good at it.
It takes some time, you know? You got your legs up under you.
Right, and I thought that at 25, there was no way I could have had this at 25. Isn't it? So it's a really interesting thing stepping into the practicality of what it means to be a goddess. And so what's one of your greatest lessons in this?
Well, you and I were talking when we were planning what we were going to talk about this week. And you asked me a question about what was one of my greatest openings into this level of consciousness. And I shared with you that when my grandmother transitioned, my sweet, sweet grandmother, who always, always, always had my back, and I really felt like she was the architect of deep love in my life. You know, I have my mother and I have family, but it was something about my Mima and how she loved me that I don't even have words to describe it. So when she transitioned, I know that I know, and this butterfly represents her, that the way she had me on the physical plane, I know she had me in the astral plane, in the spiritual realm. Like, I know, like, it's just a knowing. And it opened me up in a different way that I didn't have to open up when she was here physically. You know, like, it opened me up to connect to higher aspects of my own consciousness so that I could receive the wisdom from the other realms, if that makes sense for people. If you've had anyone that you've been really close to transition, and yes, it's sad, I miss her physical presence, but what I know is that she never left me. What I also know is that we've traveled many lifetimes together. So it's a really deep thing. And so that piece helped me grow up.
Yes.
And grow into goddess.
That is really powerful. I want you to know that when I was sitting meditating before we got on, and you called, right? And I was with Mima.
What?
Mima came. Yes, Mima came. It was, and I was like, whoa. And then I saw you called, and I was like, that's so interesting that like Mima was here, and so I can feel her because of the work that we do. Oh, Adina. Very, 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 very powerful energy. Her presence is profound. And so thank you.
Thank you. It's so funny that because we love our grandmother so much, because your grandmother came to me too, remember that they go to each other so they don't maybe overpower us and we can't function. But your grandma came to me and my grandma came to you. Like, that is so beautiful. And I'm so thankful. I'm thankful.
Yes. And so this is the goddess work, you all. This is the work of waking up into who we truly are, into the fulfillment. And I want you all to know that it is important at this time.
Mm-hmm.
At this time on the planet, it's time for us to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
We must wake up, and we must commit and become devoted to our healing and to our transformation.
That's it.
And here, Adina and I have been doing the work for years. There is work to do. You
Yes.
cannot,
Yes.
like, and let me be honest, right? Early on when I was starting to do the work, I was still trying to get what I thought I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I was still trying to really be what the world said was valuable or necessary, and do this work. And that's just, I feel like that's just a part of the process, because you're in this world and you have to move the momentum that's already in place of your ego and those egotistical beliefs.
And we want lights and we want clothes and we want to live in a nice place. We want to take vacations. So we're not saying, you know, you have to figure out how to manage
That's
both.
right.
And you can do both.
That's
you
right.
can.
And
Yeah.
at some point, both really become one.
They do.
At
They
some
do.
point, both become one.
Right.
And so the work must be done. And that's why we come and share, and we're teaching classes, because we care about ourselves, but we care about the evolution of humanity. And we're here as angels, as servants to the divine, to the goddess. We're here as a servant to your evolution and your transformation and your families. We have done the work so that we can help you do the work. So you don't have to wander in the wilderness for 20 years like I did. You don't need to do that.
We hold each other's hand and we bring each other through. That's how it's done. You know, that's how it's always been done, is someone on the path a few steps before you reaches for you. And that's what we're doing. We're reaching for those who want to walk this path, recognizing that it's not for everybody. It's like the Matrix, when they give you the red and the blue pill and you have a choice to make.
That's right.
Some people are going to choose to stay asleep, and that's fine. Those who are awake are a million times more powerful than those who are asleep. So those who want to take the choice, you know, the doors of the Goddess Church are now open.
That's right. That's right.
And walk with us.
There is a cost to pay,
there is
right?
A cost.
And the cost is not even about money, y'all. You are going to have, the cost is the self that you are now.
Yes.
The self that you are now has to die. And we are here to help you in the dying of that self. We are here to support you.
Yeah.
We supported each other, and we support others in the dying of those selves. And it is not easy work, but it is joyful work. Sometimes it is easy work. Sometimes it is easy. There is always a payoff. That's the thing that I'm clear about in this work. It always measures out.
Yeah. What I love, and I want people to understand this, when we talk about death, we understand death is not the end. Death is really a beginning. It's the beginning of the next part of the journey. So when we say it costs something, it just costs your old journey. You've already paid the cost to be here. If you're called to this right now, then that means you've paid the cost and you're ready to close that out and to take some new steps. And that's what we're doing together, is really walking ourselves fully, gratefully, joyfully into our divine work. This goddess work, this understanding that those stories that we were told, we're going to let those go, because those stories keep you trapped in littleness, in closeness, in powerlessness. And you are so powerful. Like, how do you shut down something that is so powerful? That's a power source. You make it think that it's not powerful, that it's not worthy, that it's not any of that. And there's so many things that are so vested in that story, the music, the movies, and the food, all this bullshit.
Right.
So we're talking about things that are going to elevate us and bring us into our God is consciousness and make this life so much sweeter. You could spend your whole life in these stories and get to 50 and 60 and realize, what was that all for?
That's
like what?
70 and 80. I know women that get to 70 and 80 and are like, what did I do that for? I sacrificed myself for everybody. And that's the work that we're here to do. We're here to create an environment for us to make ourselves the priority in our
Look,
lives.
hold up. Bell on that.
You've got to
Bell on
become the
that.
priority in your
You
life,
have to.
because if you don't, you can't access the goddess technology.
Ashe.
You can't access it if you are sacrificing yourself for your children, if you're sacrificing yourself for love and if you are sacrificing yourself for a boss, a pastor, you cannot be the goddess. If you cannot give yourself over to others and still have your own power. And we need women on the planet who have their power. We need that. The world needs women in women's feminine power, not in masculine power. Once you get in your feminine power, your masculine power is going to come alive.
It will. It's going to be in balance.
That's
Understanding that you are a source of power. And right now, if you're not in your goddess power, the world is plugged into you. It's like a parasite. It is sucking your blood, literally. Okay. And so what we're saying is we're going to be the source of our own power and power our own endeavors, our dreams, our wishes and things. And it's not selfish. Like people who tell you don't be selfish are really saying don't focus on you, focus on me. But does that make sense?
Right.
Does that make sense? Right. Shouldn't you focus on you first?
No, that does not make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense.
You have to source self first, and then from there you can give out love and everything from a centered place. Right. But we understand, women, goddesses, sisters, how we got here, because that's how we were groomed. That's how our moms were groomed. That's how our grandmoms were groomed. So it's been a lineage of preparing us to be the power source and the host for the world.
The host for the world. And I want to say that I have spent, like I said, I have been doing this work since I was 29 years old, and I'm about to be 5'5". And I think this might be the last year I say my age, because I'm really understanding that age is not real. And I feel so good and free in my body. I feel more healthy than I ever have. I feel more beautiful than I ever have. My orgasms are more powerful than they've ever been. I ain't trying to please nobody else.
Powerful orgasms.
Like, it's really, yes. And so, but I want us to know that I just really need us to really understand that there is a process, and you cannot just snap your fingers into this. You have to really peel the layers back, because you're carrying your great-great-grandmother's system in your system. You're carrying the lineage of all the women who didn't have their own voice, who didn't own their own bodies, who didn't know that they were magical and powerful and sexual and beautiful and divine and the goddess. You're carrying all the backed up, repressed energy of that, and you've got to do the work to move that out of your system.
So what we're doing? Systematic enemas and colonics. We're gonna bust it out.
Yes, I mean, whatever it takes, right? It takes colonics. I've been doing liver cleanses. I've been doing, cold water bath, because you to embody it. Like, you got to get in the body. And I see so clearly how much I've just been in my head. I see that I've been just walking around like
just a head.
And ignoring everything I feel.
Yes. You and I talk about that too. As a dancer, I tell folks there's so much wisdom that is literally locked in our body. It's in our bodies.
That's right.
And you can tap into that through movement and awareness. But when you're only in your head, you're not even aware of your pain cues. You're not even aware of what your body's telling you, that you don't like that food, and you're putting things in your body. You're not listening. So deep listening is a feminine trait as well. So as you melt into this and ground into this feminine energy, you really get an awareness of what your body has always been telling you. It's been like, hello, hey, I'm here. We don't like that. Stop that.
Right. Yeah. So with that, I have to go get my child, but
Okay.
not I have to. I get to. I get to go get my child and take him to
Mhm,
school today
mhm,
because my
mhm,
son lives with his father.
mhm,
Because in my journey, I needed space
mhm,
to live and grow and find my own center.
mhm,
And that meant that my son would need to live with his father so that
mhm,
I could have the freedom to be in my own temple
mhm,
without caring for anybody else.
mhm,
And it was not easy to make that choice. Like,
mhm,
because I was like, does that make I'm a bad mother? It's like, no, that means you're a great mother
mhm,
because you have the courage to know what you need
mhm.
and get it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yes.
So, and that's beautiful too,
Yeah.
because in your liberation, you're still mothering him. You're going to get him. You're still very present.
Yeah.
It's just different ways to do this. Releasing the stories that it has to be done one particular way and opening to the diversity and the creativity of how you can take care of your child and also make sure you're taken care of. So I
That is
honor you
right.
for making those decisions. That was very beautiful.
Thank you
Uh,
very much.
you're welcome. You're welcome. We're gonna end here, but we want to invite you to the Goddess Technology class. We're going to be doing interviews for this cohort of Goddess Technology. We want to make sure that the women who are entering this process with us are really ready to take this step.
Yeah.
We need goddesses who are at the place of readiness to open to make these steps forward. Understanding we all have stories. We all come from church. We all have family. We all have job. We get that. And yet, and still, we're going to do this work to uncover ourselves and unlock that power and
Yes.
direct it to ourselves so that it can be used as it was intended. So Goddess Technology starts on September 7th. We're doing the work, y'all. If you want to
Yes.
be a part of this journey, there'll be a link in this in the description. So click the link to get into our tea time. We're going to talk about it, and then we're
Mm-hmm.
interviewing those ladies who are going to take this special journey with us.
Yes.
So
So
any
you can
closing
go,
words you have?
and your profile link, is that where the link
Yeah, the
is?
link is in you click my link tree. So it's in my link tree. You can click it now. It's there. It says Goddess Technology to join that. But Goddess Technology is no joke. We are here. God is here.
That's
God
right.
is here. And
That's
she is
right.
awake. And she
Thank
is
you.
ready to create.
Thank you.
Ashe?
So you guys can check out on my link tree also in my profile link, and it'll take you to the free group at Follow the Sun. You link in there, and we'll be getting started. So thank you, Adina. I
Thank
love you.
you. I
Have a
love you.
beautiful
Happy
day.
Friday. I love
Thank you.
Zion. Thank you. Thank your womb for creating life.
Thank
Thank
you.
all of these wombs for creating beautiful
Yes.
businesses. And I thank you for what we're getting ready to create and what we're already creating, which is
Yeah.
love, more love here on the planet for ourselves, our brothers, our children, and making this world what it should be. Ashe.
Ashe. Peace
Ashe.
and blessings, everyone.
Peace and
Bye bye.
blessings.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Adina.
Uh-huh. Bye-bye.